Welcome to the VHS Club. We are already having fun behind the scenes, laughing about the fact that we can't sing any of the music from this movie because we'll get copyright infringements. This is a serious bummer, you guys. This is a really serious bummer for us. We will try not to sing or sing really badly so that if
I thought I was singing badly, but
no, you were really good. You were on point. We are back again this week for episode 1.5, episode the remix edition, because last week we were live and I think we were nailing it, and everything fell horribly apart because we had internet connectivity issues. And I say we, and I mean the royal we. I had internet connectivity issues. And so Natalie, who did all of the research and who's, let's be real, is always going to do all of the research.
Yeah, that you do all the tech stuff, and that's where we fell through last week.
That's where we fell through last week. So I really dropped the ball. But if you are new here, if you are new to listening to us on replay on YouTube, if you're catching us live, or if you are hanging out in one of your favorite podcast listening apps, welcome. It is our first and a half episode. We are starting with a movie that we know the absolute best. And we're probably not going to go in order because Natalie really wants to go in order, and that's just not how I roll.
Chronologically, so. I was like, we need to try and keep on chronological, and it's not going to happen. I'm sorry.
It's not going to happen, no.
It's the thought that counts.
It's the thought that counts. And in case you missed our shtick, we're only going to be covering movies that we like, at least at first, and then we'll take your recommendations. And we're really only going to cover movies that you probably already know, or maybe you don't know, but you missed because they're going to be old movies, like VHS movies, maybe some DVD movies.
Which is why we're called the VHS Club.
Exactly.
We are the VHS Club.
We are the VHS Club, yeah. So hope you'll get nostalgic with us. Hope you will leave comments if you're watching live. Hope you will leave comments if you're watching on replay. Hope you'll just hang out with us and hit all of the subscribe and listen and download buttons wherever you are right now, because it's going to be a lot of fun. But let's crack in, Nat. I have your document open so that I can feed you questions. So in this wonderful first episode, Natalie did all of the research and watched the movie, and it begins with, I have to read this out to all of you because it is the most wonderful way to begin this conversation. Nat's notes begin with, and it's in bold, in larger font at the very top, all caps. It says, I feel a deep-seated rage at not rewatching this with Katie live. This is a document just to me, so I'm in the third person, even though it's to me. We need to quote this together, sing the songs, gush over the hotness of Mark K/C. It makes me want to hurt something that she's not here physically with me. This sums up the entire point of this podcast and our whole raison d'etre.
Yes, exactly. We grew up in the 80s and 90s. There wasn't much to do, especially in the suburbs.
There was play outside, and then there was walk to the video store.
Yeah, those were pretty much our options. And luckily, the video store was close enough that we could walk to, because otherwise we would not have been allowed to do that.
Very true, very true. Although it was technically considered part of play outside. So, if they didn't know where we were playing outside, I mean.
Like that one time that we biked around, half the island of Montreal and were gone for about 7 hours and almost missed dinner and definitely missed lunch. Yeah.
It was very Now and Then, which is another movie we absolutely should cover. I feel like
I
that
think that was pre Now and Then, though.
I
Was it?
it may have been pre Now and Then, but not pre Now and the era of which Now and Then took place.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened around the same time that movie came out. But
Yeah. But there was something just really freeing about the concept of riding no helmets on with a bunch of friends with no sidewalks, tons of cars everywhere with virtually no mission and no way to contact any of our parents. So
no cell phones.
yeah, no cell phones. Not
My
really any
dad,
money for
though, was
payphones.
my dad was always smart enough to stick a quarter in my pocket before I
Oh, there
left.
you go. There you go.
Dad was the responsible one.
You need at least one responsible parent. That's important. That's an important part of it. Oh
Right,
my
so
goodness.
today we're talking about
We are
Empire
talking
Records.
about Empire Records. Now it's going to keep us on track. Here we go. Empire
Okay.
Records.
So, as you can see for our viewers, there is a picture of Empire Records on VHS. Up here in my background, oops, over here is the DVD. What's important is when the DVD was released, decades after the movie was released, they re-released it as a Fen music remix.
Yeah, which
That
is a
is the only way.
huge
Only way
bummer.
you need to watch it.
for people like me who had memorized the entire movie inside and out, and then the first couple times I played that one, I was like, oh no, I'm
There's
off.
more lines to
There are more
learn.
lines to learn. And even now and then, I feel like sometimes I know all of the lines when I'm watching it, and then other times I'm still in like pre-remix mode. So yeah, it is better. It is a better mix of the movie, but it's taken me a bit of
It
time
has
to
a few
mourn.
additional scenes,
Yeah.
a few additional scenes, not long scenes, that just actually flesh out the story, and
Yeah.
there's more music.
Yeah.
So, and one of the main things that I think we loved about this movie is that the soundtrack is essentially the main character of this movie.
Which is why it's such a bummer that we can't play you into the music. So if you are listening and you haven't checked out this movie, you almost might want to start by just listening to the soundtrack. So wherever you
is
listen to
a
music,
portrait of an era.
grab that. Yeah, exactly. It's
I've been listening all day to it on YouTube. They have the whole thing.
yeah, I love it.
Like YouTube actually just has it, like press play, like Empire Records soundtrack, press play, whole thing.
Whole thing. I know. Yeah, it is you're right. It is absolutely the character. So much so that the first boxes, and I don't even know if you can see it. No, you can't see it in this image here, but on the back of the box and certainly all over the DVDs, it was very clear with like nowhere on it did it say like best movie ever or like top reviewed by blah 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 person. It was like best soundtrack, freshest soundtrack, young cast, amazing soundtrack. It was like they were really going hard on the whole like you're gonna want to watch this movie just because of the music.
Now, when we go through the cast of actors, you're going to think that's where the budget went, but no, I'm pretty sure at the time, because everybody save Debbie Mazar was like basically unknown at this point.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of the budget went to the soundtrack.
Yeah.
It did.
Which, I mean, I guess kind of makes sense because this whole movie, for those who have not yet seen it, is about a record store and is really in many ways, like as much as it's character driven and it really is about these like gum chewing tattooed freaks who work in the record store, it really is about
Ned's
this kind
quote
of
from the movie.
right. Yeah. See, I know my quotes. It really is about this kind of transitional time between, record stores becoming less of a thing or individual independently owned record stores becoming less of a thing as all of the big budget, big box stores came in, which, obviously certainly happened at a later point to VHS, to video, to blockbusters of the world. So yeah, I think it is really a lot about music in general and about kind of this very last moment in time where there was this really like central community place where people could come and listen to music as well as shop and buy music.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was the time where we didn't have cell phones. If you called somebody's house line and it was busy, you just were like, hey, I'm going to go to the mall, or in this case, the record shop.
They're probably at the mall. Yeah,
I'll just, we'll go walk around. People, like everybody will be there. So
Yeah.
you just went out to hang out. It was a lifestyle of, just going to the mall, and that's where everybody was.
Yeah.
And it was a lifestyle. It was a community. And this movie gives us a day in a life of that portrait of our time period,
Yeah.
of where people just went and hung out there. It wasn't that like you weren't always pushing sales at these mom and pop record shops, you know, you were
Yeah.
just, it was about a community and a vibe, as we now say.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that this movie also is very like front of house, back of house. And there have been a lot of movies since this one that have had kind of that fun play to it, where you have this, you know, cast of employees, all of whom are strange and, you know, and complement each other so absolutely brilliantly. But there's the, you know, how they act when they are in front of customers and, you know, interacting in the store itself versus how they are in the break room, and kind of that whole, I don't know, vibe of like what a break room is to retail employees is just so charming and nostalgic for many of us who worked in those retail spaces and, you know, and remember those days fondly.
While we were watching this, that's one of the things I noted was when you walk into the store and you have to get cut through your store to get to the back room to put your bags down, put your shit down, put on your uniform or whatever you needed to do, and then go back on the floor. You always, as you're beelining for the back before a client catches you, another employee will catch you, and then you'd have that quick like debrief, that quick gossip exchange before you made it to the back room. It's like, okay, before you go back there, this is what's happening. This is what happened last night. This is what happened this morning. And that's how this movie starts.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I'm looking through your notes. I absolutely love that very high up here you say, well, two hilarious things. One, you don't even need to watch this movie because we both have it fully memorized. It's just, we're just watching it in our heads on repeat. And then the second is that, which we already talked about, but worth calling out, that very, very, very few movie soundtracks, like before this and certainly since this, can match this one. So again, you know, if you haven't listened to this music, it's one that, it's certainly worth listening to or re-listening to.
Pocket.
It's a vibe
Of the
it's
90s.
A vibe. Yeah.
This is 1994, 1995. This is real. And I can think of it from that kind of era. I can think of maybe two other movies that hit on soundtrack level like that, but we'll review those later. So we open the scene. Lucas is the night manager. He's closing the store, and in walks Gina, played by Renee Zellweger, fresh-faced, adorable as always. Renee Zellweger saying, my, Lucas, quite the responsibility. And he's like, basically, don't worry, I got it. I have these rules that Joe, the manager, gave me. I will follow the rules.
Nailing
it. Immediately breaks all the rules once Gina leaves. And then he finds in the drawer of Joe, the manager's desk, a contract for Music Town. Which is basically like those big box, if you're Canadian, it was like HMV and Music World that took over like the Sam the Record Man type stores. And Lucas is like, you know what? I'm going to fix this problem. He hops on his motorcycle and goes to Atlantic City and gambles all the money away.
I mean, as you do. As
a late teen, maybe early 20s kid would be like, I've got a plan.
Yeah, he's solving problems, you know? I mean, really, he's a problem solver.
I suppose to get into a casino in Atlantic City, he had to have been at least 21.
He would have had to be 21, yeah. And I think his character really is kind of the, like...
The oldest,
like...
Ish.
Yeah, like the like quote unquote lifetime employee who is kind of a little bit of a screw up and has been given multiple second chances. So this is probably somewhat expected, although kind of still surprising. Certainly something all the employees can talk about.
Exactly. And we find out quickly that his plan did not work. Then we go to the next morning.
All the money,
all the money, all 9,000, what was it? 9,000?
Oh, no, 9,000. Oh, you're going to call me on probably the one thing I didn't memorize. 9,100 and something, and he has counted it twice.
$48.67 or whatever.
And he says he's counted it twice.
So he comes in the morning, and you see he's asleep on his motorcycle holding a coin bucket. with, I guess, the dredges of his winnings from the casino.
Yeah.
And
Plus whatever else he's managed to collect overnight, begging
yeah,
on the streets outside the store.
you see the day manager AJ comes in, and he's with Mark, so they're played by Ethan Embry, and how did I forget AJ's real name?
Oh no, I don't even know. This
I
is
do.
my kryptonite of never being
Johnny
able to remember
Wentworth.
names. There we go.
It's Johnny Wentworth. Sorry,
There
I
we
was
go.
like, I'm
There
gonna
we
have to
go.
look that up. No, I don't. It's in there. It's a core memory.
Like, I'll just be over here. I'll just be right back.
They walk in and they're like, "Oh man, Lucas screwed up." So basically, it's about the staff trying to figure out how to help Lucas, how not to tell Joe. They don't
How to
know
get
why
the
Lucas
money
did it.
back and what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't necessarily realize that Lucas was trying to help not just Joe, but all of them keep their jobs. And of course, this introduces us to a very quirky cast. We have obviously Lucas, who's, like you said, a bit quirky, a bit odd, a bit, has been given many chances. AJ is just in all the 90s fashion. He had that sort of floppy, like Christian Slater, Hugh Grant kind of hair. Gorgeous.
Totally.
He
He's
has
the
on
guy next door, the best friend.
the guy next door. If he was drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah, but
No, he's too
every
hot for the
90s
guy next
movie
door.
has the hot guy next door who's
He's
like
wearing a sweater vest with a cardigan on top of it.
who can't get the girl, but like could get the girl. But like
all the girls.
can't, but like could. Yeah.
He was too hot for me.
Yeah.
He was like, I was like, the first time I saw him, I was like, this is the most beautiful human being I've ever seen next to Christian Slater.
I don't know what this says about me, because I was just like, yeah, he's good looking. I really like Lucas. So, like, Lucas is like fun, quirky, weird, a little bit dangerous. I don't know. I'm into this vibe.
It comes down to me. AJ was too hot. Lucas was too witty. And it's Mark for me. Mark, played by Ethan Embry, or I think he was credited as Ethan Randall.
Randall,
yeah,
yeah,
so
pre-Embry.
stage name. What's your real name, sweetie? Still a fan, by the way. Still adorable.
Still adorable.
Some people would recognize him from Can't Hardly Wait, starring Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yep.
And more recently, Gracie and Frankie. Also amazing show.
Amazing show, yeah.
And so in this, he is the typical, like, skater boy, stoner high school kid. He has a loose-fitting, sort of like Adidas kind of t-shirt, the skater jeans, the Vans shoes. It's like,
Yeah,
anyways, that was my teenage dream, just saying.
Total people pleaser, just the nicest possible person.
And like, just in his own world.
Totally, exactly. And then we have Renee Zellweger, who we talked about earlier, who's the hot girl.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, we know Renee Zellweger's hot, but like, you don't know she's hot really until you see her in this movie. You're like, oh my God, she's a weapon. Like,
yeah, she is a weapon.
She's gorgeous.
and her best friend in the movie is Liv Tyler, who
Tyler.
We know is gorgeous, and yet still Renee stands up to her and somehow is like hotter and sexier. It's crazy.
Yeah, Renee is the hot, sexy friend, and Liv Tyler, which is Corey Mason in the show. So Gina and Corey. Corey is the like nerdy, smart girl who's pretty, but like focused like 100% on academics. Yeah. And getting into Harvard, because that's what Daddy wants.
Yeah. The token rich kid, quote unquote, quote unquote. The people maybe she's really more of the people pleaser, I guess. Mark just likes everyone, but she's definitely the people pleaser.
I have to say, Corey's outfit is still something I want, which
you're rocking
have.
It. I know.
I have the blue sweater. She has this amazing blue and yellow kilt with Doc Martens. Best outfit ever.
And probably at this point back in style because that's how old we are.
Very much so. Yeah, last time I went to the store, I saw kilts were back for men more so than women, but which
Great.
yes,
I'm in.
thank
Yeah.
you, thank you.
Finally, yeah, exactly.
Oh, a little bit of hotness outside of Scotland now, eh?
Yeah, there we go. There we go. I love it. Yeah, so I'm scrolling through your notes here. You have this line that's just perfect. It says, this is an intro to exactly what it was like working at a store in the 90s.
Yeah.
We were friends, we were family, we're a micro community. Yeah, it made it super fun to go to work, which is probably, I would say, a good 80% of the reason why I love this movie is just I have always been super character driven in everything that I consume media wise, whether it's a TV show or a movie or books. But yeah, just remembering like how special that was because everything felt huge and incredibly important. And, and these were the people that made everything better on either side of the coin, rather whether you hated them or you loved spending time with them.
Like such a coming of age experience. Growing up, and like you felt so grown up even though like we weren't. When I worked at the mall or you worked at Blockbuster, I'm like, no, we were not adults. We're
somehow in charge of things, but no
I used to be in charge of things. But it was this sense of something epic was going to happen every time you went in, even though the customers were usually shit. Like you knew you were going to get that one person that came in every day to ask the same stupid question. Every day.
And I feel like most of the situations, and I don't know if yours was like this, but we should talk about Joe, because Joe in this movie is totally the manager dad guy, right? Like he was like the one that's keeping them all together. He's like angry about everything that has happened and super curmudgeon-y, but like would do anything for his employees. And I feel like that was definitely my experience working at Blockbuster, was that there was, this manager who was like sort of, the guy who we were all kind of like eye roll, like like such a dad, but also like you knew that he would be there when we inevitably all screwed up. Thankfully, none of us had $9,000 screwed up in Atlantic City, but it's good to have a person like Joe around when that happens.
You know what shocked me rewatching this? It just kind of dawned on me. I was like, Joe's probably like 30.
Oh, I know. Yeah, have you seen all those memes going around now with like showing the Steve Martin from Father of the Bride? It was like these people were in their 30s and they have like gray hair and they look like haggard throughout the movie. Yeah.
But I mean, like Joe doesn't have gray hair in the movie. He's like, I'm like, he's younger than we are right now.
Yeah.
He's also a fantastic character. Basically, when he gets in, he's like, Lucas!
Yeah.
Where's the money? The bank called.
The money is gone, Joe.
It's recirculating.
It's recirculating, which I think is one of the best quotes in the movie. Like the subtle brilliance of whoever wrote all of Lucas's lines is just genius. Because that line where he just says it really quietly. It was like, where is the money? The money is gone. Where's the money gone to? Who knows where money's gone? Atlantic City.
Where is it in Atlantic City?
What's it doing in Atlantic City? Recirculating, which is just brilliant in how frustrating it is and yet wonderfully funny.
Oh, and the fact that Joe didn't call the cops right away.
No. Or at all. I don't think he does. He calls the cops, but not
much later in the day.
I don't think he ever does, actually. He hides the money later.
He calls the store owner.
He calls the store owner because he has to, because the store owner has figured out that something, wants his deposit. He wants his deposit back, and so
he stuffed a deposit bag. Oh yeah, because back in the day, people
had a physical bag of money. Yeah, exactly.
Like a money bag. It's a thing. It looks kind of like a pencil case that fits cash.
Yeah, see, this wouldn't happen in today's society because everyone would have paid with cards, and Lucas would not have been able to go to Atlantic City to recirculate the money. It would not have been a thing.
Yeah, so definitely cash era. And so when the owner of the store comes in, Joe gives him a bag of like blank receipts and pretends it's cash, so that way they have some time to figure it out.
Yep.
Because the owner of the store is very obviously a dipshit.
Yeah, he's
And an
inherited
idiot.
the store from his beatnik family. So so his quote, not mine.
And so yeah, so he figures he's got some time before it's deposited, and he figures it out, and the bank figures it out. So they all get together and are like, we're going to try and save the store and make up the deposit money. But that's not the only thing that happens in the movie. That's kind of the subplot, because it's April 8th. And do we know what April 8th is?
Oh, we know what April 8th is. Hang on. Let me shoot here for anyone that's watching with us. April 8th is it is Rex Manning Day.
Rex Manning Day!
What's great about this movie is that, like all amazing cult classic movies, it has these moments in time, right? So Rex Manning Day is one of them, April 8th. So there are people who still celebrate Rex Manning Day all the time, every year. But then there's also moments where, you know, there are particular the amount of money, the time that AJ decides that he's going to tell Corey that he loves her, right? Like all of these kinds of moments.
137 exactly.
137 exactly. They create these fun moments in time for fans and, you know, to rally behind. And I think that that's what makes movies like this just so incredibly fun, are those sparks of ridiculousness. And Rex Manning Day is perfect because if you've worked in a record store or even in a video store to some level, like these kinds of like celebrity quote unquote moments where they have these people come in to do signings or, you know, meet and greets, you know, at a store like this, it probably wouldn't have been the most popular because it would have been insanely expensive. So here is a very washed out, no longer cool musician question mark who comes in for Rex Manning Day.
Idol from the 80s,
Yeah.
70s, 80s.
Yeah.
Who's trying to transition into a new market.
Yeah.
Trying to hit a new young market because he still thinks he's gorgeous, but he got a really bad haircut.
Yeah.
A bad haircut.
Yeah.
What happened to your hair, man?
It's a bad haircut.
Bad haircut.
And no one in the store likes him.
No.
But
So he's
Corey,
a big star.
Corey
Oh, God.
would really like
Corey.
to be with him regardless of whether or not she likes him, because Corey just doesn't want to be perfect anymore, or at least not all the time. So
No, but she thinks this will be perfect.
she thinks that this will be perfect, but it feels also, I think, a little dangerous to her, and that is exciting.
Yes. So he was on a show called The Family Way. So think like the Brady Bunch and David Cassidy. And if David Cassidy went to do an autograph signing in the mid-late 90s.
And for
nobody
those of
knew
you who
who he
are
was.
really old, it's like, there's nothing we can relate it to. So you'll have to look those ones up.
Well, okay, I think my reference was for the really old people. It's like, for us, it would be like if the Spice Girls decided to do an autograph signing today, okay? Like,
Yeah. Trying to think of like a younger, like for people that don't even know what, no, I don't know. There's no like similar TV shows now where.
No, so he was on a TV show and then became a huge pop idol and now is totally washed up. And Corey's been in love with him since she was a little kid watching him on TV and listening to all his records. And as she and Gina are going into work, she's like, I think today's the day. And it's a very coming of age moment when two girls are talking about their virginity and their first time. And Corey thinks that sleeping with Rex Manning will be the most romantic thing in the world. Gina, being a little more wise and a little more wise of the world, is like, oh, sweetie, yeah, it'll be perfect for you. She knows it won't, but she's trying to support her best friend.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a terrible idea, Corey.
Terrible. It couldn't be a more terrible idea, but you know, sometimes you have to make those bad choices.
Yeah. So in the store, Lucas is banned to the couch by Joe. Joe is on the phone trying to call in every favor and chit he has to make up this money. The front of the
AJ's
store
trying
is,
to plan out the perfect moment to tell Corey that he loves her.
yes.
Corey's trying to plan out the perfect moment to sleep with Rex Manning.
And Gina and Mark are setting up for Rex Manning Day. The only people excited about it are Mark, which is inexplicable because nobody likes Rex Manning, but Mark is just on board for everything, and Corey. And there's clients going around the store asking for a whole bunch of stuff, and it's very quirky, fun, good moments. As happens in stores all the time, there's even a shoplifter.
Ah, our favorite. Let me change over.
Our favorite.
Warren, who, fun fact, we never actually learn Warren's real name because Warren
Warren
refers
doesn't have a real name.
He doesn't have a real name. He refers to himself as Warren Beatty throughout this entire movie. And so they just call him Warren. And my favorite part about Warren is that Warren could not be more of a jackass if he tried. And yet somehow the weirdness and quirkiness of this group of employees wins him over. And at the end of this movie, Warren is part of the community. And really, in the end, and you can hold up your badge, Nad, like Warren even becomes an employee at this company. Warren, hey, I'm Warren, I work here.
So Warren he's wearing very 90s, like a very baggy sort of windbreaker coat that has lots of pocket space. The only person that notices, because everybody's setting up for Rex Manning, there's clients at the cash, the staff's all busy, but Lucas is in the back. He is banned to the couch. He sees this kid shoplifting, and he's got to figure out what to do. So he gets up from the couch, but doesn't leave it entirely. He takes a couch cushion with him. Which, this again, is why we love this movie. It's so quirky. It's so strange. Like, who even thinks of that? It's such a continuous, like, ongoing gag throughout the whole thing that they just have down pat.
That's so layered. There's so many, I think the best movies out there are the ones where it's well written on a variety of different levels. So this one, is funny and heartwarming, but also witty and has like so much of that physical humor as well. Like it really just comes at you from every level.
So physical humor is the shoplifting scene.
Yeah.
Lucas goes up to Warren. He's like, and he whispers to him, leans in, "The fat man walks alone." He's like,
Great line.
"What? What's wrong with you, man?" He's like,
and then there's
you have a coat.
A chase scene.
Yes.
A full-fledged chase scene through.
Which, of course, Gina gets on the loudspeaker.
As you do.
And says, yeah, which stores with loudspeakers, amazing.
Oh,
amazing
just the
when you
best.
have a fun staff. It's a good time.
Yeah.
So she gets on, Warren's bolting through the store, Lucas is bolting through the store, AJ is bolting through the store, and she's like, "We have caught a shoplifter. And once we catch him, we will boil him in a boiling vat of oil and give him out to the first 100 customers. Just another tasty treat from your fans at Empire."
Brilliant.
So the chase scene ensues. Warren gets caught, gets taken to the back room. They're going through his selection of music and questioning it because it's like rap, gangster rap, Whitney Houston.
Solid. Whitney Houston. It's from my
Love
girlfriend.
Sure it is, Warren.
Oh my gosh.
Joe's
yes.
calling the cops. They're still trying to figure out what to do about the money. And it's getting down to the wire. And then I think another amazing scene in this movie, Rex Manning comes in. He ends up having lunch in the copy room. Corey goes in.
It all falls apart.
She takes off her kilt, and he's a pig. And she realizes that this is the worst thing. She runs out. Everything hits the fan. AJ's heartbroken. Chaos, complete chaos. And then Gina goes in and takes care of Rex, to get back at Corey for being so perfect. which then comes out in this whole thing where the cops take Warren, or are about to take Warren away. Gina comes out of the copy room. Rex Manning again is a total pig. Corey loses it. Gina loses it. We find out that Gina has had a really hard upbringing. We find out that Corey has been so good at studying because she takes diet pills, which, what would we call that nowadays?
Speed?
Adderall? Is that what the kids take? Yeah.
Yeah.
What drug are high school kids taking now?
Yeah. Wouldn't be able to say.
But yeah, it's speed. And it's just complete chaos. And Deb.
Yeah, we forgot to talk about Deb. So Deb, who is just an
epic.
awesome character, is
Played
just a
by
little
Robin
bit...
Tooney.
Yeah, she's a little bit dark from the very, very beginning as compared to the other characters. But we discover in the middle of everything that's happening with Warren that she has been suicidal and things are just not going well for her. So they throw her a funeral in the back room so that she can fully understand how much people care about her and she can kind of hear herself eulogized, which I thought was just a really brilliant scene and a kind of a nice sort of settling, like a weirdly dark but charming settling of just the blow up of emotions and chaos that is bound to happen on a fairly regular basis when you have so many different kinds of teenagers working together, right? So yeah, and
also I don't remember growing up as a kid, like being in high school at that time, talking about mental health.
No, yeah.
It was all very hush hush.
Yeah.
It's like if you got sent to the guidance counselor, it's because you were a psycho, which is terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I got sent to the guidance counselor once because my gym teacher didn't like me and told the guidance counselor I was anorexic, which I wasn't.
Fun.
Yeah, fun, eh?
Super fun.
Like, I just did ballet, so didn't develop tatas until later. I had pecs. High school was so much fun for me.
So much fun for us all. But yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah,
I think
mental health was not a thing then.
This was definitely a movie, and I'm certainly there are aspects of this movie that watching back, are difficult to watch because there are things that certainly we would approach differently if it was made today. But I do think that they did a lot right in really trying to show how difficult it is during this incredibly transitional time in our lives, and how, and how having a support system, even if it's a group that you may not have thought about as a family, really becomes a family for you. So yeah, I thought they did a really nice job with it. And it's very interesting watching it then versus watching it now, kind of, as an adult versus as a teenager, your different perspectives on scenes like that.
Well, and also now we have more words for it, like chosen family.
Yeah.
We didn't, we had it, but it wasn't common. It wasn't common. It wasn't even a saying then. So it's, to know that you can ask for help and create a chosen family in a safe space. This movie really covered that well for the time period. And it's stuff we instinctively did and instinctively always had. It's just we didn't have words to describe it because we didn't have any importance on those issues in our society at the time, which was sad looking back on. Also, what we would not be okay with was 17-year-old Corey Mason wanting to lose her virginity to 60-year-old Rex Manning and him being okay with it.
Yeah, or the fact
that... Oh, man!
Yes. And then also the fact that Gina, same age as Corey, ends up actually sleeping with him, again, a 50-ish-year-old man, also crazy. I think...
Wild.
Yeah, wild. A wild, but I think
happens.
A topic that needed to be talked about. And I think part of that kind of... this movie is just such a coming of age story from start to finish, all about kind of, community and transitions from one stage to the next, really. So, yeah.
Yeah. So then, of course, everything's fallen apart. Corey runs off to the roof and they have their big store sign, the big old-fashioned neon signs, Empire Records top. and AJ's up there fixing the sign, and she doesn't realize this. She goes up to bawl her eyes out. There we go. If you're watching this, Katie has showed
Gotta
us
love a
Empire
neon
Records
sign.
since 1959.
59. Yeah, 1959. Or as my children would say, the early 1900s.
Okay,
I'm from the late 1900s. They're like, this movie's 100 years old. It was in the 1900s. I'm like, no, that's not good math. Bad math. Yeah.
Little shits. Oh, they can do math. They're just being sassy.
1959, friends. All right. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So AJ decides, he looks at his pocket watch, which those were very cool back in the day.
They're still really cool, not gonna lie.
I mean, they're still cool.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that it was a normal trend.
True.
That, like, so I guess sort of like the alternative kids. Like,
Yeah.
the alternative, because we had like
Yeah.
SLC punk and alternative rock back then. You know,
Oh,
like,
goodness,
and
yep.
those people would have like, you know, skateboards and pocket watches.
Yeah, exactly.
So AJ checks his pocket watch. It's 1:37. He's going to tell AJ he's in love with her, and she's having
Corey.
an actual Corey. Wow, AJ is telling Corey.
There you go. It's late
He
for us
doesn't
people
know-
born in the 1900s.
Yes, it is. It's past our ancient bedtime.
Yeah.
So, and like this also shows, and I think I wrote it a few times in my notes. It's
Yeah.
as at that age, you don't like this whole world is happening around you, but you only really see what's happening to you.
Yeah.
And AJ didn't, like, Corey didn't realize that Gina was having a hard time. Nobody realized that Deborah was having a hard time. Nobody noticed that Corey's having a hard time, and AJ has no clue. So he's just like, Corey, you're my best friend, and I wanted to tell you, and I hate that dress that you wear, and I'm sorry I'm screwing this up, but I realized that when you wear that ugly dress, I still love you, so I'm in love with you. And she's like, what the fuck are you
She's like,
talking
I'm
about?
having a really bad day.
She's like,
a
I just
really
tried to
bad
sleep
day.
with Rex Manning.
Yeah.
And Gina's no longer my friend.
Yeah.
So it goes very badly.
It goes
and
really
then,
badly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then things start to go right. Well, oh no, one more bad thing. One more very bad thing. Warren, who just got picked up for shoplifting, ends up coming back in the store. Everybody's in the back room because it's kind of closed. You know, it's after hours. And, you know, Deb sold her Vespa, so she's got $900 for them from that. And Eddie sold some of his vintage records, so he gave them cash for that. And they're like, we're still a couple $1,000 short.
Coming together, yes.
Yeah, and everybody's coming together to save, because we still have to save Empire Records. And
the man.
that way also...
Save the Empire.
Exactly. We don't want Joe to go to jail. Poor Joe.
We can't have Joe go to jail. Yeah.
So they're trying to put this money together, and then they hear, oh, and the only person in the front of the store is Mark, I think?
Who is panicking?
Panicking. And then they hear pop, pop, a gun goes off. And they all, like, run, but, like, hide behind the display cases. And they see it's Warren. And they're like, hey, Warren, like, what are you doing? And he's brandishing a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just them being badasses, they talk him down. And I think we were talking about this earlier. Deb goes up to him, and he's like, oh my God, what's wrong with you guys? And she's like, yeah, I talked to God, and she says you need to ditch the gun, Warren.
Yeah.
Like, that was the first time in my little teenage brain where I was like, God's not a man. God is not a man. God can be a woman. God is made in our image, as in all of us. God can be all of us.
Getting real.
I'm
Getting real over
Oh my
Empire
God.
Records. Deep thoughts over Empire Records.
Thank you, Empire Records, for
Yes.
introducing the concept of
Gender neutral
gender
deities.
and
yes.
and like a theological mini crisis, which I
Yeah,
was very happy to
exactly.
have, because I was like, yeah, Deb's right. God is a woman.
Oh gosh.
So they talk Warren down.
They give him a job.
Yeah.
Talk him down and hire him because
Yes.
that's just how crazy they are. I love it.
But now there's like news anchors out there. They're being reported. It's all over TV. They're like, ah, shit, it's over. Like, the store owner, Mitch, is going to come in. He knows now
Yeah.
that there's no money. But Mark,
It's the
God
make
love
or
Mark.
break moment of the film, you guys.
Yeah.
This is the moment.
Mark runs. He's like, I got an idea. He runs out front. And he's like, hi, I work here. And they're like, oh, what happened? He's like, yeah. Some guy came in and shot the place up, but it's not a big deal.
But that's not a big
What
deal.
we're doing, what's really important is we're having a party here. Live music, beer, girls, live music. Bring money. Damn the man, save the empire.
Damn the
Which
man,
is-
save the empire.
Most quotable line from the movie. Damn the man, save the empire.
Absolutely.
And all the people in the neighborhood just pull it together. Some randos come with kegs. One of the guys who works at the store has a band. Gina's always wanted to sing in a band but never had the guts. They get her up on stage, which, not that I want to shade anybody, but I remember when the movie Chicago came out starring Renee Zellweger.
Mm-hmm.
And it was promoted as the first time she's ever sang. No,
Incorrect,
honey.
my friends.
She has a great, amazing, angelic voice, and she sings on the soundtrack of
On the
Empire Records.
soundtrack. Yeah.
Amazing song called Sugarhigh. And they basically fundraise all the money, and they give it to Mitch.
Yeah.
And Lucas, who still works here, and Joe are like, you know what, Mitch? I quit. And he's like, you know what? I got a better idea. How about I sell it to you cheap? So they get to keep the store. They saved Empire, and all the tattooed gum-chewing freaks get to keep their jobs.
It's just awesome. And it's such a stick it to the man
Yeah.
vibe. And at that, again, so wonderfully perfect portrait of the mid 90s.
Just the seemingly chaos, the sense of community, the great music. I mean, the Cranberries were on the soundtrack, Dire Straits,
Yes.
the
Gin
Martinis,
Blossoms.
the Gin Blossoms. Oh my
yeah.
God. I still am very obsessed with the Martini song Free. And when they play it in this movie, it's this pinnacle moment where all of the girls are having their crises and want to be free, and like how they are escaping what's shackling them and holding them back. And it's just amazing. Everything's amazingly placed.
Well, music really, I mean, makes a scene and makes a movie, and it couldn't be more obvious than in today's society where we've been sending each other nonstop TikTok videos of like changing the music in some of these iconic scenes, and it's amazing how awesome they are, right? When the music is changed, it evokes a completely different mood. So I think this movie again just does it really brilliantly and is just a wonderful snapshot of all of the kind of music and the vibe and the experience of what it was like to be in that moment.
Yeah, even one of the songs they play is by Jimi Hendrix, Hey Joe, which perfect timing. Not like it has anything to do with the name of the character in the movie. We didn't talk about, oh my God, favorite dance scene.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
We didn't talk about Debbie Mazar enough.
Yeah, she's fantastic in
She
this.
was famous at the time already from other things. So she was kind of like, and Anthony LaPaglia, who plays Joe, they were already in stuff. But all of the kids, even like we know them now, we didn't then.
Yeah.
Lucas, for people who might not know, he was on CSI Miami when it came out. He was the lead cast. So something a little more recognizable if you haven't seen this independent film from the 90s.
Yet.
Cult classic film.
Cult classic film.
But when
Oh my
Debbie
gosh.
Mazar walks into the back room, she plays Rex Manning's manager, and she has like her iconic like bleached, like orangey hair and
Amazing
that little like
eyeliner.
roll down
Yeah.
cap.
Yeah.
Oh my God, with her like piercing blue eyes and that like
Crazy
epic
eyeliner.
90s
Yeah.
eyeliner. The suspenders, oh my God.
Yeah.
Which those pleated in the front pants are back again. Like, thank the Lord. I love that. I forget who it was I saw, like, forget who it was. I saw some celebrity wearing that, like, maybe last year, and I'm just like, what the 90s shit is happening here? I love it.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah, she's still a style icon, that woman. Oh,
she
love her.
really, really is. And yeah, it's remarkable how many famous people have like come out of that movie and have gotten even more popular since that movie. We have this remarkably wonderful rating system, Nat, because
Oh, yes.
my
We're gonna rate the movie.
some back and spoiler alert, we are starting with only movies we like, so this might get a little bit ridiculous. But for those of you who are not watching on video, our rating system is in the amount of Christian taters that Natalie chooses, right? Because we're making her do all of the research. And for those of you who are like, what's a Christian tater? You can mail yourself or friends or family or other movie lovers potatoes, like actual real potatoes. You can mail those with people's faces on them. So without further ado, I mailed one to Nat that has Christian Slater's face on. So we've named him Christian Tater, and he is now our rating system. So are you ready? Are you ready, Nat, for our rating?
I am.
Here we go. 5. This movie?
5 out of
5 out of
Christian
5
taters.
Christian taters agree that this one worth watching over and over and over again. Worth being a fan of this cult classic,
Yes.
really.
It is a cult classic. It's just one of those movies that you should know all the lines by heart so you can quote it with your best friend while watching it.
Yeah.
Quote it to the point where even your best friend's younger brother knows all of the words by heart because he's heard us quote it so often.
Yeah. Be that
Yeah.
person who, when your like partner walks by, they kind of give you that look like, oh gosh, she's watching this movie again. Be that person. Movies are meant to be loved. So find your favorites. This is definitely one of ours, and watch it over and over again. Watch it with people. You know, now we're back to a point where we can virtually or in person watch movies together again. So yeah, definitely check this one out and let us know what you think. Drop a note in the comments. Send us an email. Definitely let us know what you think of this one, and start recommending
Do we have an email?
your favorites. We don't have an email for this show yet. You can email me.
We'll do that. Email Katie.
Email me. I'm used to it all the shows that I host being like, here's my email, but maybe I won't put my personal email. It's like, if you know me, email me.
We'll make an email.
I'll make an email for the
Eventually
show.
for the show.
Yeah.
Katie takes care of all the tech stuff, so she's doing the Herculean effort. I just get to
know.
sit and watch movies with a glass of wine and write notes.
I'm gonna get to that point. Look at, we've designed everything, so now we're at that point where it's all downhill from here. It's like way downhill from here. It's way downhill from here.
It really is,
This
guys.
is as good as it's gonna get. This was it.
Gonna
We
be
did
a
it.
bumpy ride.
We did it. Hang on. What other fun sounds do we have? Yay! We did it.
We made it through without the internet crashing.
We did, yeah. Shout out to my incredible team who have been working really hard here in my office space to get the internet back up and running. It's awesome at my house, so I probably should just set up a home studio because we finally have like actual fiber internet and it works really well. So I'll just sit in shame at my failure last week. But yeah, we did it. We did it this time.
It was fun.
It was fun. And I'm thinking next week. So for those of you who are following along on our crazy escapades, or maybe you're finding this video or this audio episode months or years from now, we should figure out what our next episode is, because we are doing this thing every Thursday. We're doing it live in front of a YouTube studio audience. So if you want to hang out and be in our studio audience, you can join us 9 p.m. Eastern every Thursday on YouTube. The videos then become replays, so you can catch it whenever you want to, or you can find us. We're on all of the podcast players. So whether you are Team Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, I think I clicked them all. So hey, we're
Nice.
we're heading out. Those episodes though will drop within the next week. So this one will pop up next week because it's going to take us a little bit of time to grab that down and send it over. But if you're here live, you get the sneak peek. So. Yeah.
So, Katie, what do we want to watch next week?
Oh my gosh. I'm thinking That Thing You Do because it's been a while. And I really want to rewatch it. I think I can do it in the week. I think I can do it.
Think we can hum things from that soundtrack?
I feel like Tom Hanks isn't going to come after us. He's like America's sweetheart. He's like, of all the people,
I don't think America's
right?
Dad is going to be like, thank you for liking an indie movie I did in the 90s.
Yeah. And it's also like
Here's a lawsuit.
Not a
For a
real
fictional band.
band? Yeah. Like, how does that work for like not real bands? Speaking of soundtracks, does that work for not real bands? Like, can they sue you if they're not a real band? Is that?
I'm assuming the music is copyrighted, but
Yeah. I suppose they're probably like horribly offended. They're like, we are a real band where that's just not our name. And we did music for this movie. Like, we know how to play the music, Katie. Jeez. Yeah.
that'll be part of my research. Oh, random fact about Empire Records.
Oh my gosh, yes, before we wrap,
forgot
Natalie
about
needs
that.
to go on a rant. All right, hey, I'm
I
scrolling
need to
down
go
to
on
the
a rant.
bottom. And there is
Okay.
another movie that has this same kind of weirdness. So
Yes.
and it is That Thing You Do. All right, go ahead.
It is. So in Empire Records, watching the movie, they're all dancing on the rooftop, the credits start rolling, you see all
Beautiful
the
end.
actors'
Yep.
names. It's just joie de vivre. It's amazing. And then I see Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, and you were like, pause, because
Tobey
that's a
Maguire
VHS thing.
plays Andre. So character Andre, actor Tobey Maguire. And I'm like,
You're like,
first of all, I don't
Andre.
remember an Andre in this movie at all. Second of all, is there more than one Tobey Maguire? Do a lot of research. It's hard to
BRB.
find facts. Hard to find facts on the internet about the time when the internet started being a household item, very loosely.
You need like the Wayback Machine. You need to be like, and then be back in the.
I mean, like most websites from the 90s aren't even. You can't. They're not even. They're gone. They're gone. Servers have been wiped.
Yeah.
But I did find. So I don't know if it's fact. I did find a couple of articles that said he was on set for this film. He was a paid actor for this film. He did film scenes for it, but they were atrocious because he was, how do we put it?
Dressed
I
in a
don't want to
Spider-Man
get sued
costume.
by Tobey Maguire, but he may have not been fully cognitively present and had to spend a lot of time sleeping it off in the director's basement of his home while the rest of the cast continued on filming, so his character and all his scenes got cut.
So weirdly, Tobey Maguire was like a big deal, but Liv Tyler wasn't at this time, which is like a weird parallel universe thing.
Like, I think the only thing she had done before this was her dad's music videos.
I was going to say be related to a famous musician. Yes.
What was that music video with her and Alicia Silverstone?
Oh, good times.
Yeah, Aerosmith. Anyway, well, obviously Aerosmith. That's her band,
Everyone's
but-
like, we know. Yes,
We know
Aerosmith.
But Tobey Maguire was like in stuff already at this time, but apparently he was, what was he in? He had done The Boy's Life.
That's a good one. That's Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh,
Yes.
Be still my heart. Be still my 90s girl heart. Yeah.
He was in at least a dozen things by the time that this movie was made.
Famous enough to be able to blow off this movie entirely and like not suffer as a result of it.
Apparently he still got paid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also we didn't have the internet then, or what's that terrible trash thing that follows people around? TMZ.
Paparazzi? The paparazzi? Yeah.
No, but I mean, I guess he didn't get caught. Oh my God, you're right. He was in that DiCaprio movie. Aren't they good friends?
Yeah, but neither of them were big deals in that movie. Like that, A Boy's Life.
Well, they were.
Well, but that was.
I mean, no, but they were already like established actors.
They
at
were,
that
yeah,
point.
they were actors. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I
Fair
mean, that
enough.
was like one of the first movies. There's like,
They
that was in
apparently had
93
really
and
good
this is in
agents. He had
95.
a great agent who was just like, I've
Great
got
PR
you.
team.
I've got your back. Look,
Anyways.
Toby is going to sit this one out. We're going to cut Andre from the movie, and he's just going to chill here for a little bit.
He will get paid. Actually, and again, it's allegedly.
Allegedly. We should say allegedly.
Allegedly.
This is...
I don't actually know.
Yeah.
It's hard
Please
to
don't
find.
sue us, Tobey Maguire, please.
No, he's wonderful. I love him. Spider-Man, yay. I like all the Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yay.
Oh, that's going to be a thing now. Spider-Man, yay.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, because we have all of the sound bites because video and audio. You're going to regret putting me in charge of the tech. Sorry.
I am already.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
But, oh yes, so that's it. That's my weird factoid about Empire Records is Tobey Maguire was in it, but not.
but not. And
But not.
yeah. And if you're listening and you have more information on this, / you are Tobey Maguire's agent or Tobey Maguire, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at
Email pending.
You got that. We'll insert that later through the magic of technology.
That was a fax noise.
That was a fax.
Look that one up. Look that up for those who don't know.
Fax. Yeah. Tell me more about a fax, please. Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for hanging out with me, Nat. This used to be our BFF night. So now I feel like it's BFF / VHS night. It's like all the acronyms really coming together.
It's just the same.
It's the same
as
publicly.
last
It's
week.
public BFF night.
Yeah. Now you guys all have to put up with us
Yeah.
bantering about movies. So good luck.
Good luck. Good luck. This is a bucket list item succeeded. So here we go. Check. And onward and upward into episode 2. For those of you who are not podcasters, we have to get past episode 7 to avoid what's called pod fade. So until we're past episode 7, anything's possible, my friends. So keep cheering us on. Keep clicking those like and subscribe and follow and download and reviews and all of that good stuff because we would love to keep doing this.
Thanks so much, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everyone.